So in this video I'm going to be talking about how to actually do blog commenting for beginners. I've got a few notes here on my phone that I've listed out. A bit unprofessional, but this isn't a professional channel as I always say. But yeah, so what I'm going to do in this video is just go through a few kind of techniques or a strategy that I use that's really helped me to get successful with sticking with blog comments. So out of like a few hundred that I've got like a 70 to 80% stick rate, and it's just by using a few basic techniques that I just implement time and time again. They do help your site. Like, I don't know, who is saying they don't. Like, the only thing is, basically you get do follow and no follow links. So do follow links are links that enable the Google search bot to actually crawl your site. Then no follow links are links on your site that you don't want the search engine to crawl. So if they don't crawl it, they can't pass any ranking power through it, which is also aka known as link juice. So you can't pass link juice through a link that you haven't enabled them to crawl. The ones that you do enable them to crawl, it will pass link juice, and it can increase, like, your rankings. So for example, if you say for example had one backlink authority link from a website bringing traffic and ranking power to your website, and it was going to one page, what about all the other pages that might be relevant to that one page on your site? You're going to link to them as well from that one page, and then what happens is all of that power comes through and it passes on through all of the links to the other pages on your site. So the Google robot is the one that actually gives you that ranking power. That's where it comes from. Yeah, so you make the link, obviously, which is your kind of, in that sense, practical action, and then the result of that is the Google search bot actually crawling that site. Anyway, so what I actually do a majority of the time is I'm going to go through a few steps that I take. So the first step is going to be that I read the post. So any blog comments that you want to do on any website, you first of all need to read the post. Like, that is the biggest mistake that you can make. Like, if you go onto someone's site and you just try and use some copy and paste technique, like, that is not going to work, and the universe is just not that fair to reward you for that type of effort. Like, so, otherwise you'd be able to just use a bot or something like that, and those results are always going to be very minimal. So if you really want to get a high conversion rate, you need to read the post. So that way it's a relevant comment, it's relevant. So once you've read the post, you need to comment about the post and tie that back to the to your site as a third-party viewer. So what I'm talking about here is, when you're reading a post, just say for example, I'm in a dog niche. So if I actually read someone's site, just say I've got a post about dog training. So then I go onto a website and it's talking about how to train a dog or how to handle an aggressive dog. So I would basically read that post, read all of the information they're giving on the experience that they've had with it, and also their solution, because they're going to have their own form of solution or whatever. And then what I would do is basically, as I said in point number 2, I would comment about that post, about information in there, so they know that I've read it. And then I would tie it back to my site. Now, the way I would do that is by basically saying, I really love the information. Like, just say the person was called, I don't know, Dan, for example. So I say, hey, Dan, love the love the part where you talk about, how your dog would only chew your trainers when you would go out to work in the mornings. It's the same problem that I've been experiencing over the last few weeks. Now, I did recently read a similar post over at XYZ, your link, that was describing a similar story, but they had a bit of a different perspective and just wanted your expert advice. Now, that is the number 3. Now, point number 3 is ask them for their expert opinion. Even if it's me or you and we're no expert or whatever else, you're always blowing someone up, like when you give them a bit of, an airhead like that. So you're complimenting them in that sense. It's like when you try and chat someone up for the first time, you're trying to meet that person, you give them a compliment, don't you? And they kind of go, oh, thank you, and whatever else. It's the same thing. So you know, when you go, you want to compliment them. So they think, oh, I'm an expert. Oh, I didn't really quite see myself as that. But yeah, you know, if they think so, I'll give them a bit of advice, you know. And that's what you want to do, because when they think that, they'll think, ah, yeah, let me approve that comment, even though it's got a link on it. I don't usually accept that, but you know. Now, not all of the blog comments are going to be followed, because some people are going to do like no follow links inside of the comments and whatever else. Even if it's that, it doesn't matter. It's still going to increase your relevancy. Now, I don't know exactly how Google's determining all of this information, and I will bring that out to you in a further video. But what it is I know that it depends on what position or where it is, where the link is positioned, as to whether Google would take into consideration a no follow link and actually, you know, give you some type of link juice for that. So it does make a difference, and the reason why I know is because after doing all of those comments, it was the only thing that kind of moved my domain authority. My domain authority has gone from 1 to 10, which is like not that bad, within the space of 3 months. So, you know, it's been really quick, and my page authority is now sitting at 14. So I can go for like, you know, reasonable competitive terms now based on that. And the last thing you want to do is thank them for taking the time to read your comment. There's nothing like a rude person who comes onto your, you know, area or your space on the internet and comments on your stuff and doesn't thank you for it, like for what you've provided. So make sure you follow those 4 steps, and those 4 steps again is basically to read the post. Number 2 is to comment about the post and tie it back to your post, like, or your website, in the form of a third party. Do not do it as you and your site. You want to say that you was reading a site as a kind of third party, and you read this other site, and they recommended that you check out the one you're reading, and they basically have a similar kind of concept to what they're talking about, but a bit different, because you're going to ask them next for their expert advice, and then lastly you're going to thank them on the 4th you know, point in that sense. All of those 4 points are going to be below this video for those of you who may have missed it or whatever, and I hope that helps you. Okay, so on to the next one.